It is the GrandWest Bus Show. Good day and welcome to the show. My name is Dougal. Absolutely fantastic to have you here with us today. And I tell you what a show we have. And as always, of course, I'm not alone in this. And we're going to introduce you, the wonderful people sitting here making it all possible. But if you're watching this, let me just remind you right now, this is an interactive show. So we look forward to your contributions, your comments, your questions, because I'm absolutely sure you've got some serious questions. But the E&S&D program, Enterprise and Supply and Development, is absolutely a fantastic program. And this is all made possible by GrandWest. And ultimately, this is to boost organizations, make your business grow, scalable, all the wonderful things that you want. This is the essence of the E&S&D program. Now, Rhoda is here. Good day, Rhoda. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome, everybody. And you know what? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, and Rhoda is a E&S&D beneficiary, which is very important. So she's done the program. So she's going to give us her take and her experience and her sort of business's lived experience and all of this. So I know you're watching this because you're going to have questions. She'll be able to relate to you. But then, of course, we've got the knowledge as well, the facilitator. And Damian is here. Hello.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, excited. Almost Christmas.
Ooh.
Almost Christmas. So last little push, last little rush to get in the year off nice and strong.
Yeah. No, we're looking forward to it. So let's introduce the topic for today. Before we get that, let me just give you the rundown of what we're going to do. Now, I told you this is interactive, and of course, we really look forward to your questions and comments. And trust me on this, and I know some of you might have a hint on what this is all about. But in essence, the E&S&D program is about taking your business by the hand, giving you the tools, giving you the opportunity to growth, and this is all made possible by GrandWest. So for that, on a platter, man, you just got to applaud it. Now, for all the details that you want around this program, please, you can just contact Chrissy Dyers at suninternational.co.za. But more importantly, we'll give you those details during the course of the program as well. That will be there. Just to recap what we're going to do, we're going to have polls for you as well. And this is very easy, of course. When you interact with us right now, we're going to have the questions there. And we look forward to your answers, and we will discuss them as well, which is what we're going to do. But firstly, topic, what are we talking? Damien, let's turn the attention to you right now, because this is the buzzword.
So last week, or the last month, we spoke about some of the financial controls are very clear, direct, lots of sort of finite detail we could talk about in financial controls. Today we're going for the more fluffy stuff. Today we're talking about value versus price. How do we justify what a customer is paying for, but not talking about the value or the money they're paying for it? So are they getting value out of what they're buying from you as a service, as a product, versus what are they actually paying for it? Sounds very confusing and definitely a fluffy thing to talk about,
yeah.
But it's definitely something that most business owners tend to go to first. We want to talk about my product or my service costs this much money, and therefore you must buy because I'm definitely the best price person, instead of going the value that you're going to get out of the service or offering I have.
So value over price, or value versus price, whichever way you look at it, when you hear those two terms,
Yeah.
as a business owner, as somebody who's gone through this program, when you hear that, does it scare you?
It scared me at the beginning, Dougal, and I'll be extremely honest about it. It was scary because I kind of didn't really understand the difference between the two. But obviously through the program with, Damian, that I understood at the end of the day that I needed to stand for what I know my value was, of what offering I was valuing at the end of it, and not concentrate on the price. And automatically I found that people related to my value of my product I was giving at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're listening to this now, and you might have a concept about value or price, but now at the end of the day, you're a business owner, your organization. For you, it is about growing your business, making it sustainable, scalable in every single way. Now, I want to throw a spanner in the works here before we carry on, because there's almost like two different perspectives to this. There's the business perspective when it comes to value and price, and then the consumer's perspective.
100%.
Okay, so there's almost like two different angles. So we do a poll to kick things off.
Let's do it. Let's test it out.
Let's do a poll. All right, so we're going to start off with the first poll. Now, basically how this works, I want you all to take out your cell phone. You're going to have a QR code that is going to come up on the screen. You do that, you quickly scan it. You snap that, and there it is, and then there's a question. And you just click on the link, and that will take you to it. It is as simple as that. And we're going to put it up for you again, so you can do it quickly with our poll. So we're putting up the first poll for you, and then you simply scan that code there. Now, the question that we're going to put up for you is going to come up right now. And here it is. We're just going to test that quickly. So which option is better? And the options are there. I haven't watched the previous episodes yet, but I'm going to. I've enjoyed the show and love the presenters are sharing the information. Well, that's you guys. The bus show has so many good business nuggets. Can't wait for today's show. That makes sense. I only watch because the presenters are all good looking. Yes, thank you very much.
Whoever wrote those polls, I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. I had to help where I could. So I want this is just a test for the poll, so we're going to do it. But we want you in there. We want you in there. So quickly, I'm going to explain the process to you. Up there, you see the QR code there. Quickly scan that and just click on the link and answer those questions. And we'll give you a little bit of time while this sets in, and then we can see how it responds. But definitely do that as quickly as you can. And also, if you've got a question or what you understand over value and when it comes to price for your organization, then put it up there. All right, so define it for us, Damien, before we look at that poll again.
Okay, so I think there's a nice little on the presentation, or sorry, on the screen I'm presenting. There's a nice reason for why defining your value is important. So if we can just bring it presentationally. So the nice thing is when we talk about your value, it effectively look at like an old medieval castle. What they always had was this nice little body of water around the castle. That body of water was a defensive layer against intruders, competitors, enemies, whatever it may be. The value you offer your customers is effectively the defense against your competitors' products and services. So if I'm selling, baked beans in a tin, there are multiple stores selling it. But what makes my baked beans better than yours? More than likely not much, right? There might be a little flavor profile difference, something like that. But the consumer, the way that they see those baked beans being presented, the way they feel about my baked beans, right, means that they're going to pay a certain price for it. The better I can make them feel that those baked beans are better, looks better, tastes better, even if it doesn't, the more they're willing to pay for it. Right? Now that brand acknowledgement, that value creation by your company or by your brand will define the price your consumer will pay for it. So when you asked about the two different variants between it, the customer on the one side and me as a business on the other side, as the business, I must be very aware of what my costing is, and we spoke about it in episode 1 with regards to price modeling. I need to be aware of what I'm charging for it because there's a market at play pulling that pricing up and down. There's a business that needs support and money and finances behind it with profitability, but there's also what the consumer is willing to pay. Now, value is how much I create the consumer perspective to want to pay more for it. Airy-fairy.
I was going to say theory, yeah.
I mean, how do you set up? You talk about defense mechanisms. Before I come to you, Rhoda, because I want to know how do you even begin? You talk about defense mechanisms, the differentiating between you as an organization compared to your competitor. Where do you start?
Look, there's a big thing. So there's we'll touch on it a bit later, and we'll go to the topic a bit more about marketing and why marketing is so important. But effectively, you need to understand who your customer is, right? If I don't understand the purpose or what my customer is looking for, I can't advertise or I can't push or I can't present an offer to them that they will find valuable. If I'm, as an example, looking at trying to sell a really high-end niche product, like let's use an example, a Lamborghini. Everyone wants one, but not everyone can afford one, right? So in the market, when I'm presenting a Lamborghini to, I've got to understand my big competitors, Ferrari, Maserati, Porsche, those are the guys. They're playing in a very different space to what the Fords, the BMWs, and the likes are playing. So I've got to make sure that when I'm looking at my consumer, what does my consumer want? Do I want the flashy consumer? If I'm a Lamborghini driver, for example, they tend to be a bit more flashy than what a Porsche does or what a Ferrari might be. And by flashy, I mean they stand out. You can see a Lamborghini versus a Ferrari, the difference. Ferrari is all about performance and about the engine, about the sound. So again, I need to make sure I understand what my consumer is looking for and how I promote that value to them. How I promote that extra bit of give to them, because they're going to pay for that if they like what they see. But if I'm going to choose to go as a Lamborghini again, go to a Ferrari customer, and go, as a customer, I want the engine, but I'm going to motivate. They only want to look at the sexiness of the car and the loudness of the car. They're not going to buy from me. That's not what they're interested in. So to your question again, how do I start the defense mission? I've got to do the research of understanding who I'm selling to. I've got to make sure I know what that person wants and emotionally connect with that person before selling it to them.
Sure. It sounds tricky, so let's see how tricky it does go. Rhoda, on what Damien has said, how did you start doing that? Is that something that you could identify in your organization?
It was basically through the program, Dougal. I first had to basically figure out what was my products and what I was doing well and where I needed to concentrate basically on certain products. So I found that many of my guys that work for us, we're 20 years in the industry. So when they walk outside with their T-shirts and they got Nikkei on it, I realize that we've become a brand name. So once they walk out there, the first thing I ask is, or says, I need to order my graduation photos. So automatically that's my niche, that's my market. So I needed to look at that and look at the value of what I was giving to my clients, because obviously they spoke highly of the graduation photos they were receiving at the end of the day. So I think getting there wasn't easy, and I had to figure out actually what was the value, what was I giving out there, what was people seeing, and not look at the price I was offering necessarily, because I'm now at the point in my business where that's my price, I'm not dropping it. It's either take it or leave it, because I know what I'm giving you. I know the value of the product I'm giving you.
Well, let's explore that a little bit, right? Yeah. So you talk about graduation photos.
Yeah.
Graduation photos is the product that you're selling,
exactly.
right? Mm-hmm. The question is, why is your consumer, your customer buying a photo? What is the purpose of that photo, right? That photo is a memory of something, of a big event in that graduate's life. You're not selling the photo, you're selling the memory of what happened. Exactly. You're selling a digital copy of what happened at that.
And that's the value.
And that's the value.
Exactly.
So why must I buy from Rhoda, right, or from her competitor? Because if Rhoda's selling me a graduation photo, but the competitor's selling me a memory I can hold on to, which one sounds more appealing?
Yeah.
The memory, right?
Exactly.
The graduate photo, I can go, I can snap a photo to my phone, and that's a memory as well. But if I was someone who's capturing a memory for me, who's going to make this memory last, who's going to make it look good and feel good, and something I can tangibly hold on to, that's far more exciting and far more rewarding. It's something I would probably pay far greater money for than just a graduation photo.
Exactly.
So again, it's all about understanding where that consumer's looking to, what the consumer wants to achieve, what the consumer wants out of you, that you can then draw onto and latch onto, versus the price you can be charging for it.
So
let me ask you this quickly, Rhoda. Could you, when you started with the program, did you understand the difference straight away, or did the program highlight
I
the difference
definitely
for you
didn't
more?
understand it straight away, I'll be honest. It wasn't something I actually grasped quite easily and quickly. It took some time, and then through the program, obviously, I basically then learned exactly to get to the point where I can say, okay, you know what, this is the value of what my products is basically, and not stress about my price. But it wasn't easy at the beginning. It was difficult to actually understand that, especially as a business owner, because you as a business owner is running for the money. That's what you're basically looking at. I need to work pricing. And in our industry, I find that guys are undercutting each other. So I'm just hypothetically speaking, this is not pricing as in such, but say I charge 3,000 Rand, you will undercut me or come in working for 1,000 Rand. And then if you look at the value that you're basically looking at, even your own values as a person that's actually giving the service, you're undercutting yourself to the point that you won't be able to survive, you won't be able to pay your bills at the end of the day. So you needed to look at that as well, because once you're running for price and undercutting everybody else, you know what, it's going to bite you eventually.
Yeah.
It's going to.
Damien, how difficult is that concept for businesses that start out? Because somebody who might be entering the ENSD program right now, they know they're delivering a service or they're selling a product, but at nowhere do they actually think about value and price.
It's very difficult. So again, we must remember most business owners tend to get into their business or into their jobs and start their companies due to either need or due to a being really good at something. Being really good at something doesn't mean you are a good business person per se, right? So what happens is when we look at something like a marketing concept and marketing theory, we tend to expect business owners to understand it without actually having to go through it or learn it, which is a very hard thing to do. So, like Rhoda says, the first thing we're going to do when we start our company, when we start selling our services, is we need money in the bank. You know, how are we going to get more money in the bank? How are we going to get the cash flow up? How are we going to get the customer to pay us on time? And we don't worry too much about how we look at first, because all we want to do is get the business going. What we have to then start considering is how do we differentiate what we do. So then the next slide and the slide I'm going to pop up now. There's three things to consider, right? If you choose all three, or if you don't focus on one particularly, you land in what you call no man's land, effectively a dead zone, right? So you need to choose as a business: are we going to look at being highly differentiated? I'm going to talk my customers through how much better my product is compared to my competitor's product. I'm going to advertise. I'm going to brand it as such. I'm going to talk to the market that they're currently in. Am I going to niche? Right, now niche meaning that the market I'm playing is a very small market with a very sort of niche product, a very sort of
the Lamborghini guys.
The Lamborghini guys, right? Very small markets, very small market, but very few products in the market as well. Or I'm going to go cost focused. Am I going to focus on being the cheapest? Now, as a business consultant, or advisor, what I would say is going the cost-focused model is always a dangerous one, right?
Why?
Two reasons. Firstly, you see it as being cheap, right? Anything that's cheap isn't quality.
Exactly.
And the last thing you want to do is not to have a quality product, right? The second reason is if you're going cheap, someone who's bigger and stronger and more as a bigger corporation, you're more cash than you, they can always outplay you because they can hold on to a cost differentiation strategy far greater than what you can as a small business.
So wait, let me just understand that. So there's a little small business, me, or somebody who's part of E&S&D program, and then a big conglomerate. And I decide to sell or deliver the services at the lowest possible price, which is brilliant, well done, because consumer, very happy. I need to be doing 100 of these things a day, basically.
Yeah.
And with a big conglomerate, can maybe do one a week because they can bear their cost longer in terms of keeping their products in their storage or whatever it is, and because they're doing so much else. Whereas I've really got to
take it a step further, right? So there's going to come a point where let's say I'm a brand new company, I've got a brand new offer in the market. My product's a little bit different to anyone else's, so I go into the market and I really drop my price now, and I want to distinguish myself for being a well-costed product. And by costed, I mean be the cheap one, right? Anyone can afford my product. Awesome, the first year goes well, second year goes well, third year, because it's doing so well, the big companies start seeing, well, there's an opportunity in the market here. Why don't I develop or just drop or take a product similar, drop the price, and just hold on to making a loss for that for the next 2 years? So now what's happening is because I'm me as a small business now, I'm selling this big sort of volume of product because I'm making money out of it. Now the volume starts being eaten away instead of taken away. I start making losses, my business starts struggling, my business starts closing down. The big corporate can handle the losses because they've got other products and services they can rely on to feed that product. And eventually I close down and they will eventually up their prices and take the product on further. So by being cost focused, you put yourself at risk of being overtaken or being challenged by the big guys who can afford it for longer.
Exactly.
Which is why, as a smaller company, we would say there's nothing wrong with being cost focused. There's nothing wrong with punting yourself as being the cheap market entry product. But that only lasts for so long. Then you've got to start working on how do I start growing that and how do I start showing my consumer that the product's good and therefore start upping my pricing to relay that value again. So it's a very tough one, but you've got to pick a lane effectively and then decide how to market that lane, how to push that lane through as well. And that's where we talk about how do I emotionally connect with my customer? How do I start buying into that emotional sort of standing ground of you're looking for a graduation photo, but you're actually not. You're looking for a memory. You're looking for something that you can hold onto, a idea, an imagination, something you can share with your clients. And immediately as I start talking about that now, I'm starting to really connect and starting to get emotionally involved with what my client wants. And they can sense it. They can feel that connection and therefore they'll go with you because they start trusting you versus the graduation photo specialist.
Exactly.
When you decided to look at that, to have a differentiation focused versus a cost focused and then sort of niche market, because your line of business is sort of niche, but you're but everywhere because it's also like Damien said, it's selling a memory and all of that. Did these pop out to you straight away?
Not eventually. Like I said, first as a small business, you're looking at business because you need to do your turnaround. You need to make money to basically make a living. So, and then obviously, our value, or basically our core value, was always a case of, and one of our wording is serious about your image. So it was really a case of we need to look at our client and say, you know what, we're dealing with students, especially that's where one of our niche markets is, which is our graduations. And we needed to look at that and say, you know what, this is something that's for somebody, like you would say, a memory that will last a lifetime. So we were selling lifetime memories, we were selling memories, we were selling lives. So we need to look at that. And I mean, we get excited and our guys here get very excited. The best feeling in the world is when a graduate or somebody takes a photo and they say, wow, this is beautiful. And you know what, you actually understand the fact that they're not looking at the quality of the photo necessarily, they're looking at themselves. So once you start looking past that and you don't look at, I'm very, very, very fussy when it comes to a photo. If it goes out, it has to be 100% as far as I'm concerned. It mustn't be out of focus, it mustn't be dark, it needs to be 100% perfect. So I see that and the clients see themselves, and this is where you get excited because the client is glowing because of the feeling they're seeing their photo. So having to see that makes a massive difference, because then you're really selling the value of my business, which is a memory that's going to last you a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add that right now, I want to ask Rhoda, has she put that on her website? So when she advertises this product, like, so when she talks about it now and she's getting really emotional about it, and I can feel the passion, I can feel the value she's putting out with regards to what she wants to live and how she wants to live it. And I can quickly connect to that, because I want my photos to be clear and not blurry and make me look good. And if I'm a little bit overweight, make me look a bit slimmer. If I'm looking a bit, how do I feel better about myself as well? But if she's saying it to me now, what does her website say? What is the brochure that she's putting out there saying? What is the presentation that's presenting to the university or to the college saying? If we're not communicating that via a platform or by a medium that the people can see and connect to it, then what's the point of it? So how do we create the value? How do we push that value forward into a market? And how do we know what to say as well? I mean, listen, that speech from Rhoda, I mean, speeches in like the way she's talking about now, right, is practiced, it's rehearsed, it's felt with emotion, but it's very hard to articulate it. I mean, my business has been going for almost 7 years now, and I still struggle to always get the right words out for how I'm feeling about it. And that's 7 years of knowing what the theory is, understanding the content. I still have to think about how I'm going to present to somebody who doesn't maybe want to hear the normal speech or the normal drone about business coaching, business advising, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, the big question is, what do we do? How do we get it out there?
How do we get
So
it out
how do you get it out there? Because I'm sure people are watching this now going, well, okay, that's all nice
Great,
and said.
sounds
You
amazing.
guys have defined it. You've kind of set the scene. How do you get it out there?
So there's a nice little, so there's the next slide I present quickly. You've got to understand a few things. So there's firstly who your customer is, right? I've got to understand the person I'm targeting. Rhoda's not targeting your customer is not the student. The student doesn't pay for the photo. They do in the end, but she has to first go through university, right? So she needs to understand, who am I talking to? What is their requirements? The university doesn't really care who they get, right? They could be any Tom, Dick, and Harry, really. But they also want to give a certain product out that represents the university's values and systems. So if I know what those values are from university, I can present the values that they want to hear. Plus, I can say to them, remember your end user, the student who wants that memory. What do they want to see? And how do you want to enhance that view from them as well? So the way I profile my customer, the way I take my customer's needs into consideration and then share that with them is the first part about it, right? The second part is I need to know what the pains are. So it's one thing I know what their need is, but what can't they do? Why can't the university take photos? I'm sure they've got photos or photography students in the university. I'm sure they've got people who can take cameras, or parents can take cameras, but is it quality enough? Can they print it out? Can they frame it? Can they make it look good? Do they have lighting? They don't. We do, right? So fix that pain.
Exactly.
And understand what you're doing. So the first thing is you need to also understand what you're offering. You're not just selling photos, you're selling graduation photos and you're selling a memory, right? How does it look and how does it compare? We need to understand the why. So from our side, what is that emotional connection with regards to my clients? It's not about what I do or how I do it, it's about why I do it, right? And it's a very big difference. And if you want to go watch something on YouTube, the Simon Sinek video about knowing your why is a really good video to go and watch, and just to understand how to explain it, because I can do it 1,000 times and you can still do better than I can, right? But effectively, as business owners, as salespeople, we can easily talk about the numbers, the figures, and the analytical data around it, but we struggle a lot to word the emotional side of it. So understanding why I'm a business coach, as an example, why I'm a photographer, why I'm a videographer, why I'm a presenter, right? And being able to share that passion and that purpose with somebody also helps me connect and sort of bind them to me. And the last thing is we need to also understand that we're selling it. So who are we going to be selling it to? And like I mentioned, the big thing here is, am I selling it to students or am I selling it to the university with regards to who's paying my bill?
Sure.
Okay. Now, again, that all sounds very nice, but putting it onto paper is the first hard task. Making sure I can word what I want to do, and I can describe it, and I can write it down and make it sound good is the hardest part. So my first challenge to any business owner watching there who doesn't yet feel like they've got that wording for it, go back to your desk, write out a page, and think about what that purpose is and what you're actually selling to your customer.
Yeah. Should we do a poll on that?
Please do.
I think we're going to have to do a poll on that, Rhoda, because I want you to think about it, because this is more complex than just the two words value over price, value versus price. This is really, really complex. But this is essential for growth, right?
Very essential for growth, Dougal. Like I said at the beginning, starting a business, you focus, it's cost, money. And you tend to forget exactly the value at the end of the day. So, no. It is one of those difficult ones. And it took me very long to get used to it.
But we're going to get to that. So we're going to do this quickly because this is definitely what this discussion is all about. So have a look there. Once again, scan that quickly and answer. So think about what you're willing to spend when purchasing something. And really think about it. Answer this honestly. Okay, why do you choose one product over the other? And the other options. It's all about getting the best deal and willing to travel to get those deals. So you're willing to go and get it. I'm about quality and will pay for it. I'm all about convenience. You just want it. If it costs more, it must be better. How do you decide? And apply that now. Definitely answer that because those responses is what we're going to look at. And I kind of want to discuss all those responses, but we'll give you a couple of moments with that. When I ask you that question, how are you willing to, think about what you're willing to spend on purchasing? What do you consider?
For me, it will basically be all about my quality, and I'll pay for it. So it doesn't matter what the value is. If it's quality, I'll actually pay for it. That's how when I go to the shop, I look for quality.
All right. Okay. Let me ask you this before we discuss this. When for our businesses, as a business owner, would it make sense for me always to reverse the roles and kind of pretend I'm the customer just to see why I would decide to choose me?
100%. Remember, if you don't put yourself in your customer's shoes and review how somebody objectively looks at your company, how do you know where those changes need to come in? How do you know where those changing in tone, changing in voice, changing in actual words should fit better? Especially when you don't know who your customer base truly is.
Yeah.
And again, I want to answer that. I don't want to answer the poll. I want to give some suggestions on that poll.
Okay, so there it is. I think we've had a bit of time there. So people have gone for option 2 and 3 here.
Okay, so I want to ask a quick question, right? So, Dougal, you and I had a chat before the show about this particular question.
I go with option 1.
And your option was option 3.
Was it?
Okay, and the reason why option 3 is an option, right, is because it specifically focused on one type of thing you're buying.
Yeah.
Food as a convenience. I'm willing to go to a Spa, a Pick and Pay, a Checkers, or a Woolies, because generally the food's the same depending on what I want to buy.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I want to pop in, get something quickly, and go home. Right? If I'm doing a weekly shop, that might change. Right? I might go to a Food Lovers Market, or I might go to a Pick and Pay, or I might go to Woolies, and I might travel a bit further to get it because I find better value for what I'm buying for a longer period of time compared to just a quick little shop. Right? Price is also important then. It's perceived that Woolies is more expensive and Spa is more expensive and whatever else it is. So you might get better quality product there, and therefore some people might choose to just shop at Woolies because they think it's better.
Yeah.
Right? But we change the look quickly. If I'm going to go buy a TV, Black Friday was a massive day that came up over the last 2 weeks. You are shopping around. You're going for the best deal possible. If you're driving or going online, you're shopping around. I'm trying to find the best deal on Takealot, the best deal on One Day Only, the best deal on Macro. So I think this question was just a response or a poll to see, right, or to understand there may be different things you look at for different reasons and different scopes.
All right.
So what is your business doing? Right? Is your business looking at being the convenience store and advertising the convenience store? Is your business looking at the one that provides the best deals? Is your business looking to be the niche one that can add a higher price because of the fact that you are so niche? Or are you just going to be the cost-effective one?
Yeah.
So think about the product. It's always important about what that product or service is that you're bringing about.
Because I want to take you back to the poll there. 71% of the responses are all about quality and will pay for it. That is an ideal, isn't it?
I'd love it, right? But how many times have you gone to a dress up party and just popped into Chinatown and bought a quick little thing to wear once?
Because now this is why I'm looking at it. Option 4, if it costs more, it must be better. So surely if you're all about quality and you're willing to pay for it, we should have had a response on if it costs more, it must be better.
You think so? But remember, quality and cost don't necessarily always correlate.
And this explains the difficulty around it.
100%.
Exactly.
Quick question. So maybe on this point, right? Do you think Smeg is better than Russell and Hobbs? I sound like a real kitchen person.
Yeah.
Do you think Smeg is
gonna
better than
say.
Russell and Hobbs?
No. A kettle is a kettle.
So for you, then, costing more doesn't mean better. Right? Smeg's going to cost you $3,500 for a kettle. Russell and Hobbs will cost you $550 or something like that, right?
Exactly.
I can tell you this much from my experience: Smeg's break in 2 years, Russell and Hobbs break in 4 years. But the one costs more than the other. But that's my personal experience, right?
Yeah.
But Smeg looks good, and Smeg has the name, and
It's a
Smeg is the
name.
brand, and they apparently don't break, but in my experience, they do break. It's all about me, right? My perspective on that is, I would rather shop for the best deal in that kettle environment versus the most expensive one.
But ultimately, none of those responses are wrong.
No, again, it comes into what the respondent feels.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the respondents are. We can't see names there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to buy. But when it comes to my product and service, who is buying my product?
Okay.
I'm looking for, particularly as a business advisor, I'm looking for business owners from small to medium companies, and I need to understand what their struggles are.
Struggles.
Yeah.
And how do I communicate those struggles, and how do I make them understand? I understand what you're going through. I understand how tough it is to run a business. I understand that taking your business from nothing to something is a really hard task with lots of
Very
emotional
hard.
up and downs and lots of new information and insights. And look at me, I can help share that with you.
True.
Right? Rhoda as the photography, videography company, has to understand that the
Exactly.
product she's pushing out is not going to be what she's actually selling them. It's going to be what they need and why they need the photography.
Exactly.
This, filming a show and presenting a show, as
Yeah.
in, producing a show, are two
Very
very
different.
different things, right? But I mean, look, again, it's very fluffy talk. It's very theoretical talk. But I'm
Yeah.
hoping that the discussion around just gives a little bit more insight into how to channel those thoughts and channel your thinking a little bit.
Yeah. Rhoda, let me quickly just ask you this. So when you deal with the customers, when you deal with clients, do you feel that you've given them amazing value? That you've sort of exceeded the expectation, you've delivered on all the things you were going to do, and you've given them more than what they bargained for, they're leaving happy chappies. Do you feel that after you've implemented, you understand all of that?
I definitely do, girl, but I've always got this thing also, you have never arrived. I've always got this wording that says you never arrived, because you always have to up your game. You constantly have to be doing and pushing your value, giving it a little bit extra. So looking at your business and saying, how can I add extra to this value? How can I still be a niche and stay up there? So there's changes is happening all the time. Technology changes all the time. I mean, if I tell you what the price of a camera is that I have to buy every time, I mean, I don't even want to go there. But the fact is, for me, I've never arrived. So I'm always trying to give 300% of our time. And this is what I give to my guys at the office as well. I basically tell them as well, if you look at that photos, it's something that you want. If it doesn't look good to you, it doesn't appeal to you, then it won't appeal to the client. So you always have to up your game. Always keep it up there.
Yeah. Because I almost want to ask you, it almost sounds like you're going to have good marketing. Do you know what I mean? And the reason I asked you that is because happy customer leaves, happy customer tells 20 other people.
Exactly.
And is that...
Well, let's put it this way, right? Happy customer leave, happy customer refers.
Exactly.
Best sale opportunity ever, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's gone out, they've taken their own reputation and put it on the line to bring someone to your door.
So true.
The question is, when they bring them to your door, what are you saying to them? And your door can be a website, your door can be an article, your door can be a product that you service or giving them, or it can be you personally selling to them, right? The question about marketing is always going to be, how do we make ourselves more visible and build credibility fast?
Exactly.
Right? So
Sure.
when Rhoda mentions that you're constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly maturing, the question is going to be, how do I make sure my customer understands that? So as an example, Rhoda needs to show her customers, as the photographer, as the videographer, that she knows what she's talking about. So when
Yeah.
her customer comes and says, listen, I've got a 4K cell phone that can take videos like nothing you can present me. That nothing that, the cameras that you use, my cell phone can do that. So why must I hire you? Yeah,
Exactly.
snap, done. It cost me what? 5 seconds of time, right? Rhoda must be confident enough in what she's doing and how she's doing
Exactly.
sales, but you haven't thought about exposure, aperture, you haven't thought about the environment you're in, you haven't thought about the lighting around it, and also on top of that, have you thought about the fact your phone is already doing autofocus and all that kind of things and not cleaning out all the little noisy areas in the photo? And by the way, you forgot you've got to print it and put it into a frame and what else?
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. Those are all values or value adds that no one's thought about when they were asked the question about I can just druk and pluk or mik
Yeah.
and pluk. Mik and druk.
Yeah.
Maak indruk.
Yeah.
Mik and druk,
Maak
right?
indruk.
Yeah. It's all of that. It is all of that.
But I mean, we've got a slide, if you want to show quickly. just to give more insight into how much it takes to actually get your marketing right. It's not just about, saying I'm doing marketing. You've got to understand things like the first and big one is channel creation. Who am I talking to and how do I reach them, right? We've got to understand that how the person experiences, so to focus on the UX, the user experience of how they interact with your company. Not just your website or your staff, your training staff, but your company itself. We have to influence rather than persuade. And that's the big tough one. I can only influence somebody if I know what their perspective is. And perspective isn't always right, because perspective is something that I think is right. But how do I influence you to change your perspective and to come on board to what I'm thinking about it?
Exactly.
And you mentioned about technology changing, data technology is constantly changing, right?
Constantly.
Websites, internet, the Internet of Things, technology we use and how we go about it. Branding is another one important. Does your branding look like it's still sitting in 1948, right? Or has your branding modernized to represent the cultures and the changes environment that we're currently sitting in 2022, going into 2023? And the last one, which I think is for me, I actually want to bring it up in a bit more detail if we have time for it, is your company values. Because your values speak so closely to what you're trying to motivate and emotionally connect to with your clients. If you bring it back into your business, when Rhoda talks about creating a memory and taking real care about building the right image for the right sort of display for how the image is viewed and seen, and making the person get the image feel like it's their best possible shoot they can do, those values get translated into the staff you have as well. So if my staff feel like everything I'm doing is just going to be the cheapest possible thing, they're going to work in the cheapest possible fashion.
So true.
Which generally means you're going to bring your quality down by a hell of a lot as well.
Sure.
Right?
True.
If my staff know that we're creating a memory for the person the photo's being made for, their first job is going to be to make that photo as good as possible. Make the person think like this is the best photo they've ever received in their lives. And if they're going to work with that sort of intent, your brand, your quality, everything's just going to be lifted to a different level. And again, that moat that we're building around our business just gets wider and wider and deeper and deeper and deeper.
So true.
And that's what you want. When it comes to, when you consider the fundamentals of marketing in your business, I mean, before you were part of the E&SD program, you were marketing. You were doing it. There's people out there, people watching this now, the organizations, the businesses watching, they were marketing. But the fundamentals have now changed.
I'll be honest with you, Dougal. So, having to start the program as well, and a lot of businesses out there, especially small businesses, you're talking about we were marketing before that. You actually didn't realize what marketing in a sale was really. So it really came down to, was I actually marketing? Because in a lot of big corporates, big companies, they actually got a marketing team that actually does the marketing. As a small business, you are trying to basically make your business work. So I don't have necessarily a marketing person that actually does the marketing. So me had to basically, and all my guys in the office had to change our view and say, look, how do we implement marketing within our business? How do I get more words out there? So one of the things that we do in the morning is our social media side, where somebody's sending a message through, or somebody has said something very positive about their photos or our work. We immediately put that onto social media. We do bragging rights. So the team already knows when they see something like it, pop it up, get our rating up there, because your rating on social media is extremely high for your name to get out there. So you actually need to look at how do you market, how do you get your name out there. Sometimes, like I said, some companies go out, they've got a marketing person knocking on the doors, going to companies, going to see people. You need to look at your business and say, how am I going to get my name out there? So the marketing, like you said, some people, you would think that would be what they're doing at the beginning or when you see a business. But with the program, it was highlighted to me that I was neglecting my marketing.
Well, I think to that point, maybe not neglecting it. You just weren't considering it as a standalone function.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the big part there is what a lot of business owners tend to do is they tend to think sell versus market.
Yes.
And that difference is marketing is about farming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plant the seeds, water the seeds, let the seeds grow, let them flourish, let them get bigger, stronger, get more fruit or more crop, whatever else on it. And then the hunting part of it is cutting it all down and reaping the rewards of it.
So true.
So we've got to make sure that, particularly as business owners, that when we share a message or when we share a platform or grow that or share that value with our customers, it's not going to come back immediately. Most good customers tend to go out and test the market.
The markets.
They want to see does Optigrowth, does Nikkei, does GrandWest offer something similar or different or worse or better than their competitors. Who is the better one? Who connects with what I want to achieve in my role, or why I want to buy this product or service? right?
Yeah.
So marketing is about trying to make sure that we capture their attention, and when they go, okay, I'm interested, then my sales team must come and close the deal, and they must get the money in the bank, and they must remember the fact that there's the value I've charged, but there's the money that needs to be gained as well from it as well.
Exactly. And just on that, sorry Dougal, it sounds all good and well, believe me, when you go into the program and you get told this, you really think to yourself, but I don't have a marketing team, I don't have a sales team.
I don't have a plan.
I don't even have a plan on how do I actually close the sale, because how do I even do all of this and still do my business? So it was really a case of really in your own mind telling yourself you have to differentiate. In order for you to get your name out there, I need to market. So how I do that, you need to look at your business. Then I need to make, basically, once a person's like, hooked, or you catch the fish, you need to then basically make that sale. And then, it has to run like that. You can't be all over in your business. So it was difficult to understand at the beginning, believe me, because for me it was just, okay, I'll say sale. I need to make a sale.
Because that's what you're focused on.
Exactly.
Because that's what you're focused on.
Exactly.
Because I want you to think of like a tips, both of you, which we could share, because I know we're going to do that, and we've got another poll. But also I want to tell you, if you've got a question or comment on this, by all means, send it through to us. And Rhoda and Damian, and the best of their abilities, will try and answer.
I'll just pass it to Rhoda for now.
Pass it to Rhoda. But it is time to do another poll. All right. So, and this is a very honest question. How do you think you get your customers to understand your value over your price? You don't know? It's all about your reputation, which is brilliant. It's all about how your brand looks. It is all about your service. It's all about marketing. How do you think you get your customers to understand your value as a business over your price? Firstly, what we have been discussing is why it is important for you yourself to understand it, but also for your customers to understand it.
Yeah.
Because once your customers understand it, you basically, you're living the life.
It's easier.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, the problem is something like marketing is this: marketing and sales have the science part of it and the art part of it, right? And they both, unfortunately, have these elements of some people can just do it, other people have to really practice doing it, right? So the one thing that I want to suggest to anyone listening to this to this talk today and about marketing, it feels a little bit unsure. There are people out there who know more than you do, right? Yeah. Don't be scared to go to somebody and ask, what does marketing mean? How do I put a plan together? How do I understand my value? I know my price, I know what I do, but how do I understand the value I put out there? The only thing I want to put as a final thought to getting someone to help you out is make sure you can pin something in the ground and measure it. Right? What are you trying to do with your marketing element? Are you trying to grow reputation? How do we measure reputation? How do we measure if our customers are enjoying the brand or enjoying the marketing or enjoying the value or enjoying the price? How do we measure that? Easy answer for that one, do a survey. Pop out a Google Forms, pop out a monkey survey monkey, pop out certificates, ask the questions and see what the results are. Get some data, get some metrics that we can put in place to see how it's actually working. Sales is easy, unfortunately. Sales is pretty easy. Is the money in the bank? Have I invoiced out to actually get that sale through? Marketing a bit harder, because marketing, I want to try and reach an audience. I want to know the interaction with my brand. I want to know how they're connecting with it, how they view it. And those become very subjective feelings we are trying to assess versus the objective feeling of a cold, hard truth.
Yeah, and the sale is that. But let's have a look at the poll. Let's see how we're doing with the respondents, how those answers have come through. So how do you think you get your customers to understand your value over your price? So we've got a bit of a share there. It is all about your reputation. The biggest answer, it's all about your service. It is all about your marketing. And let me just say, as the non-expert here, the fact that we've kind of got like a split of answers and different shows the complexity around this. It really speaks to what is important. So it's all about your service.
So I want to ask Rhoda the question. Yes. What does Rhoda think is what is not the right answer, but what's her answer?
Yeah. My answer, definitely number 4, because I want to be that one-stop shop. I want all my clients to be happy with my service. When I leave there, they must be happy. And that's just when I'm working on site, or even with a grad. If they come here, my service must be top-notch.
Is that the one you want?
The one I prefer.
I was going to say,
what would you prefer?
It's all about marketing.
You see.
But surely Rhoda's got a point, and the audience has got a point.
Every
they disagree with you here.
Every single answer there is right.
Yeah.
Right. Except for I don't know.
Except I don't know.
Right?
Well, except for number one, I don't know.
It's a fair
as
answer. It's a fair answer, right? But ideally, everything you're doing is about your reputation, about your brand, how it looks, about your services, all comes down to how well you can market it. I mean, I'll ask Rhoda the question, right? So if, as a customer of Rhoda's, and I say to her, love the product, love the service. She goes, thank you, my darling. I really appreciate the service. Or I really appreciate the comments. I walk away, she walks away. Only we know about it. Does the market know about it? Did the market hear about it somehow? Am I going to go to the market and tell them? Does she know I'm going to go tell them? No
Exactly.
clue, right? So she said to me, Damien, do you mind just writing a testimonial or a referral for me? Or do you mind introducing me to someone you might know who actually wants the service? That's marketing. And I'm now putting it out to the market. I'm saying, go and tell people how good I am. Show my website to somebody or give them a business card or do something, because that's the way the market starts learning about it. To tell people how big my moat is.
Exactly. So, sorry
Don't brag about me.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you see now why he has to be the business coach?
Yeah.
Well done.
But I understand why a lot of people might be looking at that, because that is the comfort level. It is all about your service. Because this is the complexity about the subject matter. You want to exceed the expectation. I want to give you more.
Exactly.
I want you to feel that you've scored, you've
Yes.
won. You know what I mean? You've gained immense everything else from me as a business owner. That's what I want. So I can understand that people are answering that. But in essence, the line that goes through all the dots is marketing. On your example, have you done that?
I've basically exactly that. If I get somebody at referral, like I said earlier as well, if somebody immediately says, well done, I always tell them, could you please, we actually have a link that we actually send them to and say, could you please go post that? Go basically make a comment on our Facebook, on our social media, and they actually go and actually write up a little article for us. Or we ask them, if they send us an email, we ask them, can we use this and put it onto our website? And we actually make use of it. So we do take advantage of it. And this is why this program is brilliant, because of the fact that a lot of us, if you look at that poll, everybody's looking at services, because that's your general knowledge of people going to shop, going out, buying things.
Yeah.
So, but as a business owner, which is exactly what, what was highlighted from Damien, is the fact that you need to look at the fact that the two goes together. So in order to basically give a brilliant service and somebody actually gets a brilliant service, you need to automatically say, now we need to market this and take advantage of the fact that you gave me a very good referral.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, any organization want to make their business scalable.
Yeah.
They want to look at their business in a broad spec or sort of an overview and go, I can get people to invest, I can sell parts of it, it's grown, I can add whatever it is where you want to get it, to get your business, make it scalable. That's what it's all about. When it comes to marketing, surely, if marketing is the essence of everything, you got to have a great tip.
You're on the spot now.
Yes.
My tip, so my honest tip to this would be, right? As a business advisor, I may have a lot of insight and information into certain aspects, but I'm not always the expert at something, right? I love marketing personally. So as Damien Stander, I really enjoy doing marketing. I love putting into marketing plans. I love talking marketing. But if I'm not that person, right, and I'm not, and you're not that person, then why not go out and ask somebody who knows better? Why not go out and research and get someone to talk to you about it? Get someone who's actually got an understanding and a passion to talk you through this. Because, I mean, just today, I'm hoping we shared a lot of tips and a lot of good insights into what good marketing looks like, how to build a referral base to some extent, how to ask for questions, how to build your moat a bit deeper. But there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more intricacies and details that need to be done to that, and they need to be brought back into your business environment as well. And that takes workshops, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes maturing through it. So my big tip will be, get someone in to talk you through it, and just remember to ask them how to measure it.
Yeah.
Like you've done.
A good marketer will give you all the tips and advice.
All of it.
But they'll never. But it's very hard to go and say, if I did my job properly, this is what you're getting out of it. You're going to get likes on your Instagram posts. You're going to get more people following you. You're going to get more hits on your website. And I can guarantee you, I can work towards X, Y, and Z. If they can't give that to you, then rather go somewhere else where they can talk you through what those metrics would be. But talk to someone.
You must be talking to somebody. Rhoda, you certainly, like exactly what he said, you've done that now. You market all the time. Because I like right in the beginning of the episode, you said something about shirts. So your brand, when you arrive, you're very recognizable.
Totally. That is like compulsory. You wear a uniform. So when you go on site, when we're going to do events, we've got our uniforms on. And everybody, whenever our guys go home and they obviously travel public transport and that, they always come back. Oh, I was stopped again in the shop. Oh, I was stopped in a taxi. Oh, I was stopped in a bus. Because of the fact that brand, that name, obviously through the 20 years of doing business, became our brand. So, and we were very like strict on our brand, you know, and keeping the value, which is our business, you know, keeping our values and our core values as well, on saying, you know what, we personalizing this is all about you. It's about you. The service we're giving is all about your memories.
Yeah, and that is really the essence of marketing, because there's the one thing I'm going to take away from this, that it is really that emotive connection.
Oh yeah.
So I want to put the last slide for today, right? And just to your point, it's about that emotive connection. Telling somebody, as the example in the sales pitch on the left hand side, to Jacksonville. So the guy's hitchhiking. He's just into Jacksonville. There's no connection. Cool, I hear what you're selling. I know what you want to do, but I'm going to drive past you. The second picture on the right hand side is two moms for Christmas. Now, which one do you connect with? The person who's now got an emotive thing about, I need to get somewhere for a reason, or just getting somewhere. Now, marketing, again, to your point, is that emotive connection, how I communicate that emotive connection. How do I get that message across? And I think that's where we tend to miss out on the softness of what marketing can do. That firstly, the emotive message, and then the connecting that emotive message to your clients.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that. You can even see a little bit of a slant there with a
little bit more confidence, a bit more cockiness.
Yeah, you can even see that all there. But what can I say? This is an immense topic. It is absolutely an immense topic. But at any stage for any organization, and I want to ask you, because people are going to call businesses who are part of the E&SD program are maybe at the beginning phase, they're somewhat in the middle. I mean, you sort of towards the end of it.
I finished the program.
The program.
So, and I can say, you know, hang in there and really, really, guys, take full advantage of this program. I can vouch for it because of the fact that I've done it. It's been 2 years. Am I correct?
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. Say basically almost 3 years, and it's really been. It's all about you, me, the business owner, that basically just had to look at the program. There's a lot of hard work. I'm going to be straightforward and honest. It's not something that you need to put time in. If you're not going to put in the time, this is also a case of, if you need to get your business out there, this is part of your marketing as far as I'm concerned. You need to do this program to take you to that next level. So, you know what, patience.
I want to add to that, Cleve. So I think it's not necessarily about putting the hard work in, it's about utilizing the program to its fullest extent.
Exactly.
It's not about the advisor sitting here and doing the work for you.
Yes.
I can't train for you. I can't go run a marathon for you, right?
So true.
But I can help and advise you how to run a marathon. Or I can help and advise you which routes to take best and how to do this, how to do that. You need to. The beneficiary to the program needs to actually work with the advisor. Needs to sit and ask the tough questions. If you don't understand something, ask it. Don't be scared of asking something because you think you're going to look stupid or because you don't actually know. Ask the tough question and make your advisor answer it to your needs.
Exactly. And just on that, Dougal, I mean, you would think I'm 20 years in business. You think you know it all. Believe me, we went into the program when we were like 17 years old. You haven't seen it all. And having to be the first, obviously, business owners in our family as well. You never had a mommy or daddy or uncle that actually trained you or taught you these things. So you are none the wiser thinking 7 years into business, you know it all. 2 years into business, you know it all. Believe me, you don't know it all. So really, it's hard work, and you know what, just dedication, because you know what, it pushes you really to the next level. I can tell you it pushes you to the next level, and I would thank GrandWest for that. Seriously.
Do you know what? And that is a glowing feedback with the success of this program as well, because it enables the business community to go up.
Oh yeah.
So let's wrap it there, because I think this is. Do you want to add anything else before we give Davion a chance to?
I think I said it all.
You did? Any closing thoughts from you, Davion?
Best thing is to go out and try it. Go and test it. Go make an effort. If it doesn't work, try again. If it doesn't work, try again. Read up about it. Google's always a good friend to have. If you still don't know, phone someone, ask someone, but just do something.
Yeah, you're going to have to do that. Well, that wraps up for our program for today, the GrandWest Bus Show. Now, very important, of course, this program, as you can clearly hear, the proof has been in the pudding, and though, of course, you've been held by the hand as well with a coach, sort of guiding you through it. As you go through it, yes, there will be challenges, as anything in life, but the rewards can certainly be immense, especially when you want to scale your business. Now, all the details around the E&SD program, please email and and contact Chrissy Dyers. And of course, her details is on the screen right now. From our side, thank you very much for participating in the poll. It certainly fueled the conversations and discussions we had. And this program is absolutely amazing. It really is. Enterprise supply and development. And of course, you are part of it. Make full use of it, as Damien has said, because ultimately you want to scale your business, you want to grow your business as big as it possibly can. And in essence, we know how important marketing is. For a little bit, understand now, because I look at value and price, and I think we know they're interchangeable, but that is so key. It is so key. So, this has definitely given it some real clarity. And let me just say, on the point of it, when you discuss this amongst businesses, and as we've done here in the program, you realize how complex it is. Because I'm sure, no doubt, organizations, businesses are looking at this going, I know all of the answers. Well, as she's just said, 20 years into it, it constantly evolves. So, Chrissy's details again, chrissy.dyers@suninternational.co.za. Those details on the screen. But big thanks must go to GrandWest, of course, for making this all possible. The Enterprise Supply and Development Program is designed purely to scale your business, take it to the next level. And of course, with the information and the support and services that you receive within this program, definitely does that. It comes on a platter. Nobody better to thank than GrandWest. That wraps up our GrandWest show. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you for being part of the polls. Thank you very much, Rhoda, for coming on. Damien, thank you for joining. And most of all, thank you for watching. Until next time, look after yourselves and everybody around you. From all of us here at the GrandWest show, cheers.
Cheers, guys.